Good evening, everyone. This is Elwin Green of Homewood Nation, and welcome to this week's edition of Tech Tuesday. And we're here again with our friend, Ms. Shimira Williams of Productivity LLC and TechStart. Good evening, Ms. Shimira. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. How are you doing this evening?
Doing well. I'm jealous because I don't have a little bar at the bottom of my screen with my name and everything. But we'll have to work on it.
So if you slide to the left on your Hangout, there is a the Hangout toolbox. Let's
Yeah.
do that.
Okay. I'm
Once you
going to.
set it up once, you don't have to reset it again. So that's
Oh,
really cool.
good. All right. Well, I may play a little bit with that while we're in the middle of our conversation. So just pay me no mind if I appear to be distracted. But tonight's topic is the data behind your website, and this is episode 7, I believe. And yes, it's episode 7 in our 8-part series. We are rounding the bend and coming into the home stretch on taking your business online. And we're looking at some of the aspects of being online that you really want to consider, think about, and begin to make part of your plan before you just jump out there and create a website or just jump out there and set up a Facebook page. We want you to have some ideas about how you should be trying to manage all of these things that you're going to be doing. And in the world of management, there's a saying that may have come from, well, it wasn't from Jim Collins. It was one of the management gurus, maybe Peter Drucker, who said something like, if it can be counted, it can be managed. That is, that in order to manage anything, you really have to be able to measure what's happening with it, to measure your results. So tonight's topic, the data behind your website, we're looking at ways of measuring what's happening with your website or with other aspects of your online presence, and whether it's social media or whatever. So with that having been said, and we're looking at the importance of metrics for your online presence and ways that you can begin to gather those metrics. And Ms. Williams, what's a good starting point for us in looking at this?
Are you measuring your matrix is probably the first and most important matrix that you need to discover. Like, a lot of people post stuff and are sharing, but they actually aren't measuring or using any channels or platforms to say, so I sent out 20 tweets this week, but how many actually got favorited? How many actually were retweeted? How many times was I mentioned? And if I was mentioned, how far did the reach of my mention go? And on Facebook, I posted something, but how many people really liked it or reshared it or actually commented and engaged in it? And how fast am I responding to my customers and things like that? So those are all things that are now data-driven, and we can capture them. And there are several platforms out there on the market that you can use. So I'll talk about a few free ones, or they have a free level and then they have a premium level, because that's how we do it around here with tech tools. It's kind of like we have a free version, and then if you like,
pay a reasonable fee for these extra features.
And it's a reasonable investment, honestly. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's just a fee, because depending on the level of engagement you have, you may need those reports to be sent out to people and things like that.
Right.
And so the first one I'll talk about is SumOff, which is a newer platform. I've probably been using it for the last 6 months. And it's geared towards social marketing people or marketers, and it really shows you your analytics behind it.
Okay,
I have
this is
already,
some all.
yes,
Okay.
SUMALL.com.
Okay. All right.
And I've already logged into my account, but I will share my screen.
Okay. Let's
So,
take a look at some all.
Someone allows you to put in your various platforms. And when they consider your platforms, they are not only talking about just social media, they take it to the next level of even your e-commerce. So if you are, you have a square in your office or your retail place, you can track your engagement on that. How fast are people buying stuff? Are they sharing it once they buy it? Who's been buying from you? Because I love when I use a square and I use the right card, it automatically sends me an email receipt. It doesn't even ask me, do I need a receipt? It knows my preference, that I don't want the paper receipt. I definitely want an electronic receipt. And so things like that are important to know. It also lets you know what your audience is into. Um, it's Twitter and all the other basic social medias, Instagram. The best thing I like about the Twitter is you can do it on searches. So if you say, like, I run a hashtag youth412, I could literally just look at how that hashtag is performing. If you would like to look at your websites or blogs, you can do that. You can look at your Bitly, which we will have a Bitly of all the resources that we share here this evening. You can look at your YouTube, your Vimeo. You can look at how your email engagement is going and things like that. So I really do love this platform. I have been using it for a while. It's constantly changing. It even has your Fitbit and running. I use Runkeeper, although I don't run that often. I usually use it for walking, but it would keep all the data that I would like to share if I'm in a group, which I have done that, been in a group of people who want to share how are we doing as a group. Maybe it was a 100-mile walking challenge was the last one I did, so this was a really cool feature that we used. But once you set up your information in your account, then get all these cool matrix. And
Okay.
it'll let you see different things like how many tweets have I sent over a time period. And it's
So you're
automatic.
saying about 2,700 tweets, is that correct?
Yes, between June 2nd and November 24th, I have sent over 2,000 tweets.
Okay. You're a tweeting fool, huh? Okay.
Well, I'll use my Twitter account because just last week, or yes, the week of November 27th, I sent 204 tweets. But I can guarantee you those tweets were probably directly aligned to Twitter chats or an actual live event that I was at, and there was a hashtag to go to the event.
Gotcha.
So on the 21st, I got on First Lego's Twitter chat about upcoming robotics competition, and since I manage a middle school robotics club, that was really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know what should we expect, what should we be doing. Well, after that Twitter chat, I gained 11 followers.
Right. Right.
And so it was how I was engaging. It was where I was engaging, and I was engaging in a space that I needed to be in, whether it was online and offline.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's really fascinating to me how even a single event, if you tweet that event live, my experience has been even live tweeting a single event can result in gaining new followers. You know, 2, 3, 4, 5 new followers just because they've seen your tweets where you give your take on one specific event, and they say, "Oh, I like the way this person, is reporting this or responding to this. I want to follow them." So, yeah, this is a great way to build an audience, actually.
And saying that, the next day I went to an event and I live tweeted from that event, and I gained about 8 more followers just on that. And the great thing about that one is I already was following a lot of the people, so a lot of industry leaders who were at the event also retweeted my stuff, and so it allowed me to keep going. It allowed me to keep the conversation going and meet some new people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was able to put a name to the face of some people that I've actually met, or we engage each other on Twitter, but we had never met in person.
Right.
And that's
right.
always great feeling like, hey, I've been following you. I've been talking to you're human.
Yes, yes, yes. And you look kind of different when you're not this big, but when you're full size. I said, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of, that's what you look like? Yeah, that's what I look, that's what I look like. And so that brings on to the question of, your customer connections and your mention response and social shares. Like, how many people are really engaging with you?
Mm-hmm.
And, a platform like Snowball
allows us to see measurements for all of those things, right?
Right. And it allows you to even follow, like, how many new followers do I have? For YouTube, it'll let you see how long somebody has viewed your actual video. Like, were they on there for the first 30 seconds and they drop off, which would let you know that maybe I should change my game up in the first 30 seconds.
Right.
Have they spent hours watching your videos? Are they a repeat customer? Have they now subscribed? It'll let you know what kind of platforms they are coming from too. So, or do I have a lot of mobile users, or do I have a lot of people who are on computers? And so you need to know that type of information. One, when you're designing your website, is it mobile friendly or responsive? Because if all your users are mobile, but your website is not mobile, you're losing a lot of people right then and there. And so your bounce rate will be very high, meaning I got to your website, but I couldn't do anything, so I bounced right back off of it.
I bounced, yes. At this point in the game, so to speak, in the online world, I actually, when I am on my phone, and surfing the web on my phone, and I come to a website that does not have a version optimized for mobile, right? A website that doesn't fit my phone, I just get really, really annoyed with the company or whomever. I say, wake up, so, come on, what's wrong with you guys? So yeah.
And I don't think so many people realize how many customers they are losing, because the majority of people now only connect through mobile devices or tablets. And if your website will not connect, you still have Flash, which is so 90s, and that's when everybody wanted their website to be moving and doing. The iPad doesn't recognize Flash. So automatically you lose everybody who is an Apple fanboy or girl, because their phones or their tablet is not going to show your site.
Okay.
And that's important to know. How are your customers getting to your online presence? Are they desktop users or web browser, full browser users, or are they strictly mobile? Because if they're strictly mobile and you're not mobile, you again done yourself a huge disservice.
So somehow will tell us all of this for all of our individual websites or social media streams.
Well, someone will tell you all of the analytics about how people are engaging with all of that stuff. But if you really want to know how people are accessing your stuff, you should try Google Webmaster Tools.
Google Webmaster Tools. All right. I love the way she said that. Google Webmaster Tools. Okay.
So
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Google Webmaster Tools is like the baby version of Google Analytics. It is not as powerful as Google Analytics. You can tie Google Webmaster Tools into Google Analytics. They do go back and, if you have one, you probably should have both.
Mm-hmm.
If you have Google Analytics, it'll automatically make you a Google Webmaster account. But most people are not prepared for the in-depth amount of data that Google Analytics can truly provide you, and it becomes overwhelming to them.
Okay. Okay.
However, if you want to get your feet wet and start to figure out, well, what is the data looking like for my website, you should get a Webmaster account. And of course, I have signed into mine.
Oh, of course. And meanwhile, we're throwing the address up on the notes page for any of you who are viewing or want to refer to those notes later, which is simply google.com/webmasters.
And so, when I don't have any crazy messages, the first thing that I do love about Google Webmaster Tools is more than one person can be able to view your dashboard. So if you have a web developer, they can actually share access with you so that you can see what's going on without being beholden to them. As a matter of fact, they should automatically share this platform with you so that you can see and stay on top of some of these things. Your crawl errors are literally when people are bouncing off your website because the page is broken or the URL is broken. When you have that error 404,
the famous 404, yes.
The infamous error 404. If you're really cool, you can make your own special page, so kind of like makes fun of your company, but also redirects them back to the main page. Because sometimes that happens. But it will show you your inquiry, your queries and things like that. You should always submit a sitemap. I did updates to our website over the weekend, and I'm not done, so I haven't submitted a new sitemap, but I will over next weekend because I'll be done.
Okay, so what does a sitemap do?
A sitemap lets search engines know what pages are real for your company, and so it basically gives them an index of your website so that they can put in there. And every time you change something on your website, meaning pages, you should update it with a sitemap or update your sitemap.
Okay. All right.
And so it basically guides search engines about how your site is built.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll throw that in the Bitlily because everybody likes the detailed information. So if we go to search traffic, we can look at your mobile utilities. You can search, I have no mobile utility issues, meaning that if you go to my site my site's responsive, it doesn't make a difference how you access it, it will adjust to your screen size.
Mm-hmm.
You can also look at search queries to see how people are searching and getting to your site. If you search TechStart, of course, you'll probably want to reach us. which I am very proud of because there is a Techstore LLC in Nevada, and I am winning the internet over them.
You're crushing them.
And they have a much bigger company, but if you Google Techstore, our company website will appear before their company website, which is really cool. And this Techstore artist people, they come in like 4th or 5th, so they're pretty cool too. But they're a group of artists that hang out. It can show me my top pages. So what people are actually going to our site to look at.
Which may not necessarily be your index page or your home page.
It totally may not be at all. It will also show you your links to your site. So what sites are linking to your site? I know that this mypraiseatlanta.com, they ran the article that the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette published about us.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times if people are on their site, it links, if they want to find out more details, it links them back to us. I am excited that Pinterest is up there high enough because that means the stuff that I am pinning is actually sending people back to my actual website, which is how Pinterest is designed to work.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing for the spotatlanta.com. You should use that information because what if it's an X-rated site, or maybe it's your competitor site that is actually pushing back to all of your information, or maybe it's negative reviews. Maybe you're on Yelp and everybody is talking about how horrible your service is. So then people come to your site to say, I don't really want to go there, but they'll still click on your site to see, because they're
right.
nice.
So besides knowing where the traffic is coming from, we really want to know what they're saying.
Right, and that's called referral traffic. Like, where is my traffic being referred from? Is it from my Facebook post? Are people clicking on that post and seeing stuff and then coming back to my actual site? Because again, that is how we want this stuff to be designed. You want all your social medias and social online presence to actually bring people back to your site. Your website should be your hub.
Right, right. Okay. I'm sorry, was there something else that we wanted to see on the Webmaster Tools, or?
No, I mean, because I could go into a whole bunch of things, but no.
Okay.
I won't do a data overload for people.
All right. One thing that I know we can also, one thing that a lot of people are familiar with primarily from Facebook, that I know you can also do on Google, but I think it works slightly differently, and I'm going to ask your help on this, is tagging. So can you first of all help us to get the relationship between tagging on Facebook and Google tagging, or how are they similar, how are they different?
So tags are a way for the internet to search your content. And so if you tag people's face in pictures, when you search them online, you'll find that picture.
Okay.
When I blog, if I post a picture to it, you know how it says alternative text? That is a great place to put your tag for whatever that post is, the major tags, because then when someone searches for that tag, it'll show up in images. And it'll show up on your page too. But tagging for your websites may be a little different. You can actually set the tags for your website in the background. And so when you search for STEM childcare, I come up number 2 because that's a tag in my website as well as in some articles about me. So it's what content is directly aligned to that topic or phrase. Google offers a beautiful platform called Tag Manager. And this is so that, Tag Manager. The Tag Manager allows the marketing department and the IT department to work together seamlessly because your tags are often changing. And you want to keep your tags changing. Like if your company's just been listed with some great information, you want that word to be, aligned to anything that you're posting and things that you have out there. It's free. It'll also tie into your Google Analytics.
Okay. Is there a URL for us to that we can point people to for Google Tag Manager?
Google Tag Manager, google.com/Tag Manager, and I'll pop that right into the comments area.
Okay.
And so I can't log into my account today because I actually have clients that I use that with, and so I don't want to violate their information because confidentiality is king around here.
Okay.
And so I'll respect that and respect them with that, but the TechStart stuff, I own TechStart, so I can share what I want because I have the owners information about that. I also put in there a beautiful article about 14 of the most important social media metrics to track.
Okay.
And I'll post that directly into the comment section. And again, all of these will be available in a Bitly bundle at the end of the day that I'll post under the YouTube post. So, how many people is your post reaching? Are you saying the right things to the right people on the right network? There's so many networks. We talked about this last week. Do you really need to be on all of them?
Right.
And if you don't need to be on all of them, that's fine. But your audience needs you to be. Are you staying up to date with how the algorithms are being used for those social networks, which they're constantly changing? Facebook, I think, changed theirs again last week, and effective in January now, they're saying that they will want all pages to...
Oops, that's my phone, which I need to silence as soon as I find it. Sorry about that, folks. Well, it'll stop in a second. All right, so that's a reminder to just as when you go into the movie theater, when you prepare to do a hangout on there, please put your phone on mute or just turn it off.
There are some people that, we were talking about whether you need to be on all of them. Truly make a decision because it's a lot of time you invest in crafting posts and making sure they come out at the right time, and is enough people seeing it? Did you pay to be promoted, or are you paying for promoted post? And a lot of people do. I'm a believer of organic. If you're following me because you actually want to hear what I have to say. It's an extension of what we do, or what I do as a technology consultant, more than I'm trying to sell you a product on there.
Right.
And that's for what I do. If I sold T-shirts, I'd probably post a picture of me in a T-shirt every one of my company T-shirts every day. Like, you got to buy my T-shirt. You need to buy my T-shirt.
Right.
I have a friend who owns a consignment store, and she was like, "Oh, I think we want to get on Instagram." And I'm like, "How about you focus all your energy on Pinterest? Because on Pinterest you can actually put a price to a pin, and then people who actually follow you, if you drop the price, it'll send them an alert if they have liked your pin or repinned it, which is much more effective than just being on Instagram."
Right.
So find out like what tools really work for you, and are you actually converting that into something?
Mm-hmm. Would you say, and we're getting a little bit off here, but your comments just raised this question in my mind, because we have spoken before about not having to be everywhere, in order to be effective online. Do you think there's like an optimum number in terms of the number of channels a business should use? Like maybe 3, 4, 5, I don't know, out of the dozens that may be available. Um, and by the way, you don't even have to answer this if you don't want to, but is there a number that you would recommend to folks, like, okay, you should be out there in 3 different places or 5 different places? If not, that's okay. Just asking.
I will say this. If you are a business owner, you should have a completed LinkedIn profile for yourself. That's one foremost thing, because it is the professional premium platform.
Mm-hmm.
After that, be realistic about what you can manage. How much time do you actually have, and what can you actually manage?
Okay.
Facebook can take your whole day away.
Oh, yes.
I
And
mean,
your nights.
I have gone on Facebook to say I actually just need a piece of content off of Facebook, and ended up being on there for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And actually not getting the piece of content that I needed.
Oh, no. Oh, look, puppies.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
ooh, who inboxed me? Ooh, wow. Did you read the comments? I gotta open up the comments, because why does this have so many comments? And then you read the comments and you're like, can I have my 45 minutes back?
Yes.
And
So,
it has happened with Twitter too. I've seen a hashtag and jumped on a Twitter chat, and it's 2 hours later, and I'm like, I think I was supposed to be eating, but I was on Twitter.
yeah. When you forget to eat, and I've had this happen, and when you forget to eat, you know that you're in maybe a little too deep, right?
Right. I mean, and so I would honestly say, be where your audience is, and that you can actually have the time to invest in it.
Okay.
If you can't invest the time to have quality videos, don't try to be on YouTube all the time. Like, that's not your venue yet. Maybe one day you'll get there, but don't try to, be like, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Vimeo, I'm doing podcasts. Pick one. Start. Yeah. Grow people there.
Yeah.
I'm not a numbers person. I'm about who's following me. I would rather have industry leaders follow me, 5 of the top industry leaders, than 500 random people. And that's my personal perspective on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I need my people to be online and offline people. Like, oh, I seen you at a conference. Oh, we really actually have dovetailing interest.
Right.
And I'm a bit antisocial, so that's probably why that works for me personally. People who are more extroverted, they're like, I like people. I talk to people. I have hundreds of followers because they're people, and I'm a I'm a doer type person. Like I just like to do stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we want to encourage folks not to try to be everywhere, to focus your online presence, in a relatively small number of channels, what you can realistically handle. And when we say realistically handle, that means not just doing it, but also measuring your results. And this is where we can use SumAll. This is where we can use the webmaster tools. This is where we can use the Google Tag Manager to help ourselves with the tags so that we can know what results are we getting in the 2 or 3 places that we are online rather than being everywhere and not knowing anything about what results we're getting.
And this doesn't directly relate to this, but it does to me. Owning your own domain is so critical because you remember MySpace? It was here
Barely.
and then it was gone and then it tried to rebirth itself. I don't know how well that really worked, but you don't own the content that you publish to those sites. And so if they go away, if tomorrow Twitter is gone because Twitter just decides, hey, it really wasn't working, or business model wasn't it, you don't have that anymore. You don't have access to it. You could have had really great engagement and it's gone. But when you own your domain and you put APIs and plugins that get people to use their Twitter handles, but they're actually typing on your own domain, you own it.
Okay, now you just referred to APIs and plugins, and that's another show all by itself.
That is. I think we're talking about that next week. You got to make the people want to come back.
Yeah, the importance of owning your own, of course, is something that we've touched on before, and as long as we are doing Tech Tuesdays, you will probably hear us kind of harping on that. And it's not simply that Twitter could go away or Facebook could go away, but even now, on Facebook in particular, I'm thinking finding the stuff that you've done before, right? I mean, if you've been on Facebook, as a lot of people have now, for 3 or 4 years, right? You know that at some point, last August, you wrote a really great post about this one thing. How do you find it? Well, you could go all the way back to August of last year and look for it, but what if it wasn't really in August? What if you really wrote it in April, right? And you just are not remembering correctly? How do you even find something on Facebook, right? I mean, when you post something on Facebook, it is not only kind of belongs to them, but also there's no really good way to search it or to find it again once it's gone up there. And I'm sorry, I'm getting on a soapbox here because that actually annoys me. But we can do the complete rant on that some other time.
I mean, their algorithms are always changing too. Social media is great. You should have it. I am not against social media. I love social media. But it also needs to be measured. What's your return on investment? How much time are you spending in it? Have you spent half of your day doing social media when you could have actually been making calls or following up or using email? Because email really still works. It really, really does still work.
And
Um,
for some folks, it works amazingly well.
and,
Amazing.
and you know what? You can find email all the time. You can search your inbox and be like, there goes my email. By
Yep.
topic, by person, by date, and all those things. So it's not that social media isn't good. You need it. If somebody tells you you don't need to have an online presence, that's not true. You need to have one. It needs to be measured. It needs to be focused. And just like with print media, we talked about that. You don't have everything under the sun that's available on print media because it's unrealistic. Some things are not going to work for you. And the same thing goes with social. Some things aren't going to work for you, and some things are going to be like your bread and butter. For me, Twitter is my home. Twitter is where I get people and find people, and people find me, and I make connections. I don't necessarily feel that way about Facebook. It's kind of like have it. I don't even think I don't even think that my page has more than 200 followers, and I'm not stressed out about it.
Right, right, right.
I'm not. It amazes me though when organizations that I meet them, they're like, "You always like our stuff. We love you," and I'm like, "Okay."
All right. Well, we've gone far afield, and we're just kind of rambling now because we're having fun. We hope you are too. But we're gonna wrap it up here. And this is episode 7 of an 8-part series. So that means that next week is going to be our final piece for this set on taking your business online. Please join us next week when we talk about choosing a web designer. Until
Yes.
then, you folks have a great night and have a great week. Take care, everyone. Good night, Ms. Williams.
Good night.